What?
Tram lining out there, perfect.
I've had a bite. It dropped off. I'm not even going to cut that. Right, we're back on the bank. I'm back in Oxford on the Phil's Embryo Syndicate, and it's third session of the season. I've already had 2 blanks, so I'm really hoping this is going to be third time lucky. So I've not been here for too long. There looks like there's a few lads on, there's a few cars in the car park, so I'm going to have a good walk around. As always, location is key, so I need to find them to be able to catch them. So I'm going to have a walk around, try and track down where they are, and see if I can get any sort of anywhere near them, essentially, and hopefully we'll be in a chance of having one. So I will obviously talk through all the tips, tactics, everything I'm doing throughout the video, and I'm hoping it's going to involve a few fish as well. So let's crack on, have a look around and see what we can find. Before I do that though, please subscribe to the channel if you are new, and give it a thumbs up if you end up enjoying the video, and also check out the social media showing at the bottom of your screen now. Right, let's crack on, have a walk, see what we can find. Fingers crossed, we're going to have one. Come on. Right, let's catch some carp. Right then, I've dropped the barrow into the in-between. I do really like this swim. Reason for me dropping in here, I've had a good walk around. As always, location's key, and there's been a lot of fish showing out in the centre of the lake, out in the middle here. Now there is a guy on the point, and he's fishing out towards that way, so he's obviously seen them showing as well. But there's also another guy right at the other end in the snake pit, and there's a guy next door in the boat swim. So it looks like a few fish have been coming out the last sort of week since I was last here. There's been, I think, 3 or 4 more 30s caught, so nice average size has been coming out. There's been quite a few upper 20s, so there has been a few coming out, and it seems there's only a few. It seems like there's a few people catching multiple fish, and then most of the other people blanking. So it seems like a lot of the fish are coming from certain areas, and the other swims aren't producing as much. Now I know this swim has produced a few fish so far, so it is a good shout, and like I've said, there's plenty of fish showing out there, so I think location is spot on. But I haven't fished it for a while, so I'm going to obviously get the feature rod out, have a good lead around, and just check the spots out there are as they were the last time I fished it. Probably last autumn, I think it was, when we did one of the verses. I did a 48 hours and actually had a 30 out of here thinking about it. So hopefully I can continue that form in this swim and catch another. But I'm on a bit of a blanking spree, so I really could do a catch in. It's my 3rd session on here this year, so hopefully I can finally put it on the bank 3rd time lucky. So let's stop talking, let's crack on, let's go and get the kit sorted, and hopefully I can show you an absolute banger, because I really could do with getting some up in the net this time round, as I'm feeling a little bit, well, no one likes to blank, do they? But anyway, let's crack on, let's see if we can catch one. Donk. Yep, that is the one. Well, that there is an absolutely lovely feature. I'm not too sure how far out that is. Not actually that far really. So I'm going to wrap that. It's got a nice horizon marker as well. It's obviously probably gets a bit of bait, I would imagine. I think it's the spot I have fished before. Alright, wrapping up then. I don't think I've ever talked through wrapping up. So obviously 12-foot wrapping sticks. I've just used the rod. I got a 12-foot rod. I've just used the rod to mark the distance at 12 foot. One at each end, obviously. One at the butt end, one at the tip end. I always wrap left to right. So lead goes on the left hand side, drop it down, and then just wrap left to right. And what you want to do is try and wrap as low down as you can, because there's less chance of you pulling all the line off of the wrapping sticks. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
6, 7, just 2 times round. The reason I use 2 is just because it secures it. Hand in your line, centre yourself in the middle, hold the rod up really high and just wind it on at a nice steady speed. Setting this up, you want to keep it away from any debris, because the last thing you want is some a stick or something getting caught in the braid while you're wrapping it, because it will ping off the sticks and you will lose braid. And I'm telling you now, it happens. I've done it multiple times. So just be careful while you are wrapping up. Now that I've clipped that, I'm just going to have another quick lead, because I have obviously lengthened it slightly. Oh yeah, it's still donks down lovely. Oh yeah, perfect. It's a little bit backwards this swim, because normally I put my net on the left. So I just put my net on there, then have it on the left hand side, so when I walk on to play a fish, obviously the net is then ready in my left hand. So I'm using 12 foot 3 1/4, so these are a little bit softer. They're not casting rods, they are classed as all-rounders, so they are a little bit softer. And I'm also using 18-pound mono, 0.35, which depending on the brand is anywhere between 15 and 18 or so. So it's just got a leg clip on there, which is what I'm going to want. So I'm just going to be using my D-rigs. I'm not going to be fishing solid bags or anything. I'm going to be trying to fish really tight and accurate on this spot. So these should have micro barbs, and they have. So we're going in with the old faithful D-rigs. Let's go white and yellow. Got plenty of fish on these. Right, same process again. 2, 3, 4, 5. Soon we're allowed to use particle, so there will probably be a good amount of corn starting to go into my mix, which will work really well with the yellow wafters. The bail arm on this rod's looking a bit sorry for itself. That's because I decided to drop some on it. Right, 2 rods done. Send these 2 out on to the spot, and then we get a bit of bait out. Now before I cast, although it's not a huge distance, I always lubricate everything, just give everything a good dollop of water. It just cuts out the friction and allows it to cast a lot smoother. Right, rod number 1. Oosh. Let's try and get that line to sink. Went down with a nice little drop as well. It's definitely going to be the left rod, because that was quite on the left of that spot. On goes the bobbin. On goes the alarm. Job's a good one. Oh, boom. Lovely drop that. That's probably a better drop than that left one. I think I could probably slot the other one down the middle of those two, to be honest. Oh yeah, that's going to be lovely if I can slot that one down there. But they are tram lining out there, perfect. So if I can slot the middle one straight down the middle of those, that's going to be absolutely spot on. And so far all the rods have gone out first time, but what's the bet this rod takes me 50 casts, because I got to slot it down the middle. Right. Oh, you know what? I reckon that might be alright. I reckon that actually was alright, huh? So I am going to redo that. Oh yeah, that's the one. Look at that, straight down the middle, perfect distance. Bosh. Right, we're just giving it a bit of bait. I've got a bit of a mix made up. Just some 8mm boilie, 12mm boilie, and some pellet. I'm using the bug boilies, some of the maxi mix pellet, and also some of the Embryo house pellet. And that is it. Good serving a glug. Job done. I'm absolutely starving. Oh, let's hope the fish are. Right, evening update then. So we're fishing, the rods are in the wet stuff, and I'm feeling really confident. So I've decided to get into the in-between after having a walk around. There's been loads of fish showing out in front of this area, right out in the middle. So I'm basically fishing to the edge of them. Now, I've gone with my tactics that have worked well on previous seasons, which is essentially three rigs on a spot and just putting a little bit of spod mix over the top of them. So I've put about 7 or 8 spods out, found a lovely spot, very sort of firm, clear area, a bit of gravel and that, feels really nice, and either side of it there's a bit of weed. It's a good distance out, quite close to where the fish have been showing, so it's definitely in the right area. And to be honest, everything's gone pretty well. I've not really had any issues. It only took me 4 casts to get 3 rods out, and I'm fishing at a pretty decent distance. I only had 1 spod go out of line basically, and I managed to kill it before it went too far. But I've only put about 7 or 8 out there, so not too much bait. But I'm going to just keep it tops up, little and often, and try and keep that spot active, and hopefully create a lot of activity to get the fish to move in on, and hopefully it can produce us a few bites. So I am feeling really confident. I do think there's a good chance tonight of having one, if not maybe in the morning, but I am feeling pretty good for a change. The last couple of sessions I've not been feeling my confidence as much. I've had a few blanks. It happens to everyone now and then. We always go through a little bit of a blanking spell. It's just fishing in at the end of the day, but it's nice to sort of feel confident even though you've had a few blanks. So anyway, nice and simple, that's what we're doing. I'll update you a bit more probably tomorrow as the light is starting to go now, and talk you through the rigs, the bait and all that sort of jazz. But we're fishing, the rigs are out there, we've got a chance, we're on some fish, so I do think there's a good chance I could be updating you with a fish hopefully very soon. Now I'm going to put some food on, crack open a tin of cider, chill out. I'm going to get the laptop out, do a little bit of editing, and hopefully get disturbed by a bite. But in the meantime, I'm going to crack on with that. Our update. What? That was terrible. I'm not even going to cut that. I'm going to crack on, and I'll see you in a bit, hopefully with a big old fish.
Right, morning then, bit of a coffee update for you. So, the night was pretty eventful, which was nice. Obviously on the sleep front, not on the fish front, I obviously blanked my ass off. Yeah, nothing happened. Couldn't believe it. I was so confident yesterday. I really thought I was going to get a bite in the night. Everything went out absolutely spot on. I couldn't have really asked for anything to go better, and I was really confident. The fish were showing. There's fish showing out there in the darkness as well. Before I got on the bag, I could still hear the odd fish rolling, so they were definitely out there. They're just not willing to feed, it looks like. But a lot of the photos I've been seeing have been in the daylight, the fish that have been caught, so there is a good chance of a day bite. Now, I haven't got all day today. I won't be fishing up till dark. I'm going to try and get home for my lad's bedtime, which is around 7ish. So I'm going to fish up till sort of late afternoon, and hopefully it's enough to give me an opportunity of actually getting a fish. But I'll have a look at some of the rigs and the bait and that, just show you a bit more in depth of what I've been doing, as although it's not been working so far this season, it's done really well for me the past seasons, and it is just tactics I'm really confident in. So although I haven't caught anything and I'm on a bit of a blanking spree, I try not to mix things up too much. I try not to mess around too much. I try and stick to my guns, because things usually do come good eventually. It's just the way it is. You always go through little periods of you know, fishing where you don't always catch. It's just fishing at the end of the day, isn't it? So, but anyway, I'm going to polish off my coffee, have a bit of breakfast, and I'll update you in a bit, hopefully with a fish. If not, we'll have a look at some of the stuff I've been doing and go from there. But yeah, let's hope we can have a fish to round off the session. Right then, so I've had a bite, thank God. Problem is, it dropped off. What is going on? I'm not sure, to be honest, if it was actually a carp. It might have been a tench or a bream. It really wasn't, there wasn't a lot of weight to it. So basically, I was just sat watching the water, and the left-hand rod just sort of pulled up tight a bit and started dropping back. I tried to find a GoPro and chuck that on quick, because I wasn't wearing it at the time, and obviously that took me a little bit longer to get to the rod. I wanted to try and get a bite, and obviously playing the fish on camera. Anyway, as I got to the rod, I realised that actually the GoPro was flat and I hadn't changed the battery, so that was a complete waste of my time. I got to the rod, started playing it low. There's a little bit of a curve in the rod, but not much. I am fishing at a pretty decent range, and I was almost just sort of pumping it back slowly with the rod down low, and then it just went slack. So I'm not sure what happened really. It just seemed to drop off. Very disappointing. It might have been a trailer. It could have been like a smaller species, like I said, a tench or a bream. There wasn't a lot of weight to it, so I don't actually know if it was a carp or not. But because of that, I'm going to put a couple more spods out onto the spot, because even if it wasn't a carp, there's obviously been something out there having a little feed. So I've just mixed up in that bucket down there. There he is. Another little bit of bait, and I didn't put much out last night, only about 7 or 8 spods, so I'm just going to put another couple of spods out now. I've actually just give it a good dousing of boiling water, just to try and get it to start breaking down a bit quicker, so it'll look a little bit more like it's been sat out there for longer, as obviously a lot of the other bait's going to be more like that. It might have gone, the bait, I'm not too sure, but because I've had a bite, I thought I'd better top it up with a couple. So I'm going to put a couple of spods out and see if that produces another bite. So it's looking better anyway. We've had some action. Let's hope we can polish it off with a fish. That's gone better. Right, now nothing's happening on the fishing front at the moment, but I've everything's packed down and the barrow's kind of loaded up. So I thought, as I've got a new barrow, I've been using this for a couple of months now, I thought I would show you it. Obviously it's ProLogic, as you would imagine. It's their new compact barrow, and the idea of it is it's fully EVA, it's full EVA, so you get the 2 side bags and the big bag. You can buy either together or separately, but they're basically designed to fit in there perfect. So one's a cool bag and one is just a standard EVA bag, and then you've got a large one on the back which you could put all your rest of your kit in if you wanted to. But the design is that you use the bed chair basically to hold your kit together. Now I've got more on there than you probably would need, but it's because of the way that I have my kit set up. So I like to fish off the barrow, and by that I mean, if I've just turned it up now and I haven't got any rods out, I can take the rods off. So this camera bag would be on my back, and the brolly would go through this centre bit here, and then the rods sit on top of there. So all I have to do is lift the rods off, say chuck them on the ground down there, and then I can come round to here. And this bag, this is the EVA carry-all. I've got all my rig stuff. So I've got my rig boards, leads, I've got my PVA stuff, and then under here I've got my zig stuff. So straight away I can get some rigs out into the pond and I'm fishing without even having to unload or undo anything on the rest of the barrow. So the barrow can literally remain as it is, and all I've had to do is open up that bag, and that's it, the rods are fishing. Now, the reason I do that is obviously I can then move around as quickly as I want and try different swims and follow the fish, because there's a lot of venues I've fished in the past where following the fish is paid dividends, and being mobile and being able to act on what you see quickly can really sort of benefit you. Now what I've done is put my food in this one. So this is actually a food bag. I also keep some spare drinks in there. Because that tends to be quite heavy, that's why I've put it in this instead of having stuff in, say, like the larger bag on the back. Basically this sits forward on the front of the barrow, so it's right over the wheel, so it keeps all the weight forward. Now, although I'm probably not going to need that straight away, that's probably going to be something I'm going to use when I'm actually settled into a swim and I've got some rods fishing properly, but it just keeps all that weight forward and makes it a lot easier and a lot more balanced. Obviously these two are basically the same size, so the weight distribution is pretty well spread and even, so it just keeps it nice and stable as you're going along. Now, in here is my brew kit. So obviously once I've got a couple of rods out and I'm fishing, I might want to have a bit of a brew and just watch the water for a bit. So what I tend to do is have the brew kit in this separate EVA pouch. Obviously it's all fully waterproof, and then I keep a little bit of water in here so that I can grab a bottle of water out, fill up the kettle and have a quick brew if I want to. Now, down in these bottom ones, on the front, either side of the wheel, one of them has got water and some extra drink. Sometimes it's got a few beers in it as well. And then the other one has got all my bait if I want to spot out a mix of bait and give them something to eat. And the reason for that is obviously those two are very heavy, so they go either side of the wheel, low centre of gravity, so it keeps the weight really off of your hands and makes it a much lighter load. Obviously the main base is obviously going to be the bed. Now inside my bed I've actually got a bed, like a folding seat to go on my bed chair as well, so that's obviously going to help support my back, but that all folds up in there lovely. And then at the moment on the back I've got my retainer, and then the unhooking mount I actually chuck across the top of here because it doesn't really weigh much. Inside the retainer, inside the unhooking mount, sorry, I've got an EVA pouch, and in there I've got my scales, sort of carp care kit and all that sort of stuff, and that just sits on the back. It doesn't really weigh much, so I just sort of lay it across the back. And the reason I don't put it on the main part of the barrow is because I have to soak it and clean it all off with the antiseptic before I start fishing on here every time you come. So I want it to sit on the back so it can drip off and not soak the rest of the kit. Now all this stuff is EVA, so it's all waterproof bar the bed. So I do bring a waterproof cover which I can sort of chuck over the top of everything. Sometimes I just put it over the bed and then put all the bags on top of it if I know it's going to be wet, because obviously these stay dry, they're obviously EVA and waterproof.
But that just keeps obviously the bed dry in case you are going out in some bad weather or you're setting up in the rain. You can just chuck it over the top of it, not have to worry about your shelter straight away, and you can still follow the fish around. And that's pretty much it really, nice and simple. Like I said, that bag goes on my back, that's my camera bag. I have that one on my shoulders, so there's a bit of extra space on there normally. But yeah, very, very simple, very straightforward. I don't know if I mentioned, but this one on the back is an extremely large barrow bag. I don't put any heavy items in there because obviously it's going to be more on your hands, so I tend to put spare clothing. If it's not wet but there's a chance it might rain, I might put like a rain jacket in there, some waterproofs. Sometimes I put like some spare clothing, some spare socks in case I get wet feet or anything, and just spare bits and bobs basically go in the back of there. There's usually a spare toilet roll in case there's none up in the toilet block. But that's it. So like I said, it's nice and simple. Everything's very well spread weight wise, so it's not too sort of heavy on your hands. It goes along really easy. The wheel is a massive thick bit of kit, very chunky wheel, which really spreads the weight and keeps you nice and stable. And what I do is, you might be able to tell, it's quite square at the moment, so the way it is at the moment, bar my camera bag being on back, is actually how I put it in my van. So I've got a couple of cable ties, they just sort of strap over diagonally just to sort of give it a bit more security. And then in the back of my van, I've got a caddy maxi, I've got 2 large storage containers either side of the side doors, and this basically slots straight down the middle of them. It's a perfect width, goes straight down the middle of them, and then those containers stop it moving. Then my rod bag leans on the back of there, the brolly will slide underneath, and then my ramp for the barrow goes underneath on the other side, so it all fits in there nice and neatly and up together. And I do it exactly the same every time, so everything's all up together, neat and tidy, and it's just consistent. As always, like, consistency in everything you do will always give you better results. And if you're not consistent, you can see when something's wrong, because it stands out more, so it allows you to be able to correct it. But anyway, the rods are out still. I haven't got much long to go though, so I am going to look at packing down in a minute. But unfortunately, other than that one fish this morning, or one bite this morning, which I managed to lose, nothing else has happened, bar the odd fish sort of jumping out in the middle just beyond my spot. But anyway, that is the barrow, and that was our fish off it. Right, so that is me packed down, that is the barrow loaded. As you can see, that is how it's all loaded up. Obviously the brolly system's on there, rods on top, straight down the middle, couple of ties over the top of it to hold it down. The unhooking mat just goes tucked in on the back, and job done. So it is a fair bit of kit, if I'm honest, but it's nicely loaded, well balanced, so it doesn't actually feel like a lot when you're going along. And although I do think you should travel light and travel mobile, I also think you need to bring enough kit to be able to fish in any sort of situation, so you can get the best out of your session. So there it all is. Obviously I've got the tripod just down there. I'm going to put the camera on that, and I just lay that across the top or over the back of the handles. But yeah, that is me done. So unfortunately it is another blank. It's very frustrating, but it is fishing. I've enjoyed being out. It's nice to get outdoors. I absolutely love being outside in the outdoors, and I know I've been doing more camping than fishing. At least we had a bit of a bite this time, but hopefully I'll be able to turn it around sooner or later and start putting a few fish in the net again. But that's how it is. Hopefully you've not minded watching these videos and you're getting a bit from them. If it is a bit boring, just let me know. I might not put them out if people don't want to watch them, but if you enjoy still watching the content and just seeing what I'm doing, sometimes seeing people not catching can actually help yourself, because it might show you sometimes what not to do, or there might be something in this video that has helped you, like maybe the barrow setup and how I set up my gear. If you want to know more about that sort of stuff, then just leave me a comment below and I will try and put it in another video. But anyway, that's me done. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, check out the social media shown below, and until next time, get out there, catch a few, and hopefully you'll do better than what I have. But I'll see you in the next one. Get out there and be lucky.